Hey, welcome in, everyone. It's a Friday night show, and I got more stuff hung up. Look at this, bro. Whoa. Change it around. Got some more stuff hung up. Starting to look more legit, more like a real Packer fan. I don't know if it was this, stuff that's been going on lately that's caused all this, or is mom and dad moving. Well, it's mostly mom and dad moving, but, whatever. So I got some stuff.
I just put the fake background on, then it doesn't matter. I can be anywhere. Sometimes I'm on the toilet. You don't even know.
Oh, thank you for that. That's great.
Yeah.
Hey, I was all ready to get in here and talk about some goofy stuff and just kind of start it off fun and talk about Gute the flamethrower and all this other stuff. But then I popped online and I saw that a Packer legend passed away today.
Oh yeah.
John Brockington, all national champion from Ohio State, first round pick, great running back, a fullback who back in the day they used to hand the fullback the ball. And he was a good one because he was a bruiser, but he had like 1,105 yards this opening season, and then over 1,000 yards his second season. Was a 4-time All Pro or Pro Bowler or whatever it was. Guy was a stud, and everybody talked about how tough he was. And all that's his football stuff. Passed away at 74 today. R.I.P. John Brockington. Then I'm gonna open my beer here.
Love you all, man, dude.
Then I saw some other things about, you start typing stuff in about John Brockington, and it said something about kidney transplant. I was like, what's all this about? So John Brockington had a kidney infection. He said he was never ill, really, never had any health problems or concerns or whatever, even after playing football for all these years, up until around 2000 or 2001. And he had an infection in his kidney and he needed a transplant. And he got a transplant in 2001. Only like 5 or 6 months. I think his was November. So it was like 6 months after 7 months after mom's transplant. So anyone who watches our show knows that we have polycystic kidney disease in our family, genetic disease that sucks. It's very prevalent. And there's no cure, there's no treatments, there's none of that stuff. The only thing you can get is a kidney transplant. And in order to get a kidney transplant, you need somebody else to give you a kidney. So either a live donor or you get them from people who have passed on that said take my organs and give them to somebody else. And after this happened, and again, you wouldn't think whatever, you're not going to think about that stuff too much if you're a healthy person and whatever. But after it happened, John Brockington created a foundation, the John Brockington Foundation, which the mission was to create a culture in which organ donation is commonplace, to provide financial and resource support for those donating, because it's not free and it's not cheap for everybody. Waiting and people that are and or receiving organs, to support them financially and to promote health education to minority communities who are disproportionately represented on the transplant waiting list. So from that point on, the last 20 plus years, this man has made it a mission, created this foundation, and has been on a quest to get people to donate organs and to think about that and to do what they can. And kidneys are the ones you can donate, and you can survive and live with one. And so if you have an extra one and you are you can qualify as a donor and you want to give a kidney to somebody, that's something that's a selfless act in a lot of cases, but it's something that that he is trying to promote more and more people to do. And his last line of his piece here that he had written says, "Join us in battling death on the transplant list," which unfortunately happens. He's like, "The health crisis our nation could virtually solve with a signature. Run hard, John Brockington." So anyway, not how I expected to start the show, but I thought, you know what? First of all, we're going to give him his due, RIP, for being a great Packer. But also, this hits home, and similarities with having the transplant the same year as mom had her transplant. And then And then he wanted to do something about it, try to help people out. So that's all I had to say about that. So tonight I'm drinking G5 incoming call, anonymous caller. That's what it is. So I'll give it an anonymous caller for John Brockington tonight. Anyway, that's the story on that. If anybody's old enough to remember John Brockington, there's a little background on him. I just feel like when people pass on, especially when they were sports figures, a lot of times they just talk about, oh, their sports accomplishments and all this sort of stuff. Well, a lot of these people do other things too. And, you know, that was part of his life. And pretty cool that he took that initiative. All right, where are we at here in the comments? I'm going to check them out. David's here. Zero's here. Jonathan's here. Hello, everyone. Let's see. David said, hey, guy, I need to hear from you guys because the rest of Packer Nation is driving you nuts. What is happening out there, David? Why are they driving you nuts? Please tell us. Please tell us. Give us maybe give us more. Brandy says, you think if we start writing to Ed Policy now, by the time he is potentially takes Mark Murphy's job, he would be sick of the letters and fix the audio during pressers. Hey, you just turned Mark Murphy's microphone off. That's what they try to do, I think, is normally what they like to do. David's an organ donor. Hey. Thanks, David. Good on you, sir. And it's not, not everybody can do it. I get that. And not everybody's comfortable with that either. And that's okay too. But if you do feel like it's something you can do and, you can really help somebody out. And a lot of times for certain these things like livers and kidneys and stuff like that, like those are things you can do as a living donor and help somebody out. And that would be awesome if you're able to do that, if you know someone in need, or even if you don't know someone in need and you just want to do that as a damn good human being. I'll tell you that. They treat you like a king if you do that stuff, or a queen. Thanks, Jonathan. Appreciate it. Ran harder than Levens. Whoa. Everybody said he was super tough. Said John Brockington was like super tough and ran super hard. We'll see. Ben might have a debate about that. Of course, we never saw John Brockington. He was a little before our time. Packers fans don't think the core of this team is good. Oh, that's what they're driving you nuts with. Ben, what do you think about that? How's the Packers team? Gute talked about it. What we were doing with our team when he fired back about Aaron Rodgers and said some things that were false, or said some of the things that Rodgers said that's not true. This is how it went down. And Gute, he's a pretty mild-mannered guy in terms of in front of the media. He's super low-key and all that, right? And professional, uber professional. And he kind of, gave it a little bit back to Aaron Rodgers there, clearing some stuff up. Now, based on their track records, I don't know who you believe, but if he's going to come out and say that's not true, and we tried to call him a bunch of times, he just didn't get back to us. And then we said, well, we got to figure out what's going on with our team.
You just changed the subject. What the heck?
I got to do my job.
You just say change the subject.
Well, I'm asking you about.
You said, what do you think about the corpse of the team? It's not good.
I'm getting to it.
You're blabbing on about Rodgers crap. We're not talking about Rodgers crap. Rodgers is gone. Screw him. Let's get him out of here already. This is a good question. I like this question.
But part of his job is building a team. So how do you feel like he's doing?
Here's why, David, Packer fans who aren't in the know like us think that the core of the team is bad. Because who did we start? Agent Amos, is he good? Darnell Savage, is he good? No. Dean Lowry, is he good? Kenny Clark, is he the superstar everybody says he is? Hell no. Mercedes Lewis, is he really good? No. Big Bob Tunyon, was he really able to do anything with the ball after he caught it? No. Randall Cobb, was he a good guy? Yeah. But was he making things happen all the time? No. We started guys like, Crazy Man 70 and
Wildman 70.
Wildman 70 and Hansen got to start before the Fat Packers figured out some stuff. They thought, that Amari Rodgers was a better return man than Keyshawn Nixon. All those things. And then the guys that are going to be playing now are the backups to those guys who sucked. The problem is not that the fans don't understand or think the team isn't good. They have a right to think the team isn't good because they're not paid to make decisions on who should play and who shouldn't play. most fans are saying, well, that guy's playing obviously because he's a veteran and he's better than the guy behind him. In most of the cases I just mentioned, that was not the case. There were better players behind all of those guys that started and played. And the only ones we got to see, well, we actually got to see almost all of them, to be quite honest. Rudy Ford came in for Savage, played much better. Keyshawn Nixon came in the nickel and played much better than, when Savage was in the nickel, or when even Rasul Douglas was in the nickel when after Stokes got hurt. And then Dean Lowry got hurt, and then all of a sudden Wyatt comes in and looks great. Jack Tom got to play instead of Wildman 70, and oh my God, what happens? Oh, we're really good.
Wild.
It's like
70.
And the only ones we got to really, and then of course the Keyshawn Nixon returning kicks and stuff. It took them halfway through the year before they finally, had to trade Amari Rodgers-Wade before they finally made the right move. So what's happening is the fans think that the Packers as a coaching staff and organization have, are telling us, hey, these guys that started at the beginning of the year, who we've worked with all offseason to get them into starting roles, we've worked at them all offseason. We know these are the guys that are better than the other guys. Even though after watching the film and watching games, we as good, fans who study stuff can see, hey, no, those guys stink. And we know that the guys behind them are better. And now they're going to be playing. Plus whatever we draft. Plus, who do we sign back? We talked about this last week. The guys we wanted to get back that were actually good, almost all of them are back. Justin Hollins, Ford, Keyshawn Nixon.
Which Matt LaFluer unequivocally said he's the nickel. He's going to be given the nickel job.
That's another topic. We'll get into it. But what I'm just saying is the reason why some fans, probably half of them, feel that way or are saying things like that is because they don't understand. We are getting addition by subtraction. We're losing the dead weight. We're losing the old guys who just lost a step. Sometimes, like in Adrian Amos's case, he was a fine player, but he lost a step. Mercedes Lewis was he's fine. But we need a dynamic playmaker who can do all the things. We don't need a guy who just can do one thing. Same thing with Robert Tonyan. Can't block. Can't run after the catch. Does he have great hands? Yes. Great hands. Everything else, not so great. So, and then offensive line, those two guys were terrible. Defensive line, Dean Lowry never has flashed. They had one interception return for touchdown, one time, like 2018 or something, a long time ago. That's the one thing he ever did. I can remember. So what we're seeing is the Packers finally seeing what we've seen as fans, the guys in the know, the guys who watch every play, and we've seen, and they've brought back the guys who last year made plays, and they're getting rid of the guys who can't make plays. Who the opposing team took advantage of the fact that they were on the field by attacking that weakness on multiple occasions. So what we have now is a core of young players who can only get better. And they're already better than those guys who played last year. But because the coaches didn't play them from the start, most of the fans probably don't know and weren't able to see them, and they don't get to watch all the film. They don't really study it like we do and get into the weeds and all that kind of stuff. So that's the reason, David. That's why a lot of the fans are saying that they think the core of the team is bad, and they think, and they say, "Oh, this is a rebuilding year, and this team's going to stink, and they're going to win like 2 games." Actually, I think they're going to win more games than they won last year. They're going to make the playoffs. They're going to win some. They're going to win a playoff game or 2, I think, and they might do some amazing things with this core unit of players if they can build on it with the draft.
That's classic. Well done, Brandy. Well done.
We all had mullets there, Brandy. I had one.
No, but
Jason
are you getting it? Let me mull it over. It's so good.
Yeah.
Well, sometimes I know you don't like to come all the way down to the corny spot with me, and I get it right away, and I appreciate it. I appreciate it 100%. Hey, we're having like crazy severe weather here too, so if our connection gets funky or you lose us for a bit, like literally, there's tornadoes coming nearby and 70-mile-an-hour winds and all kinds of stuff happening right now here in South Central Wisconsin. So, you getting any of that over in Rochester?
A little bit, but I think it's over here now.
It's pretty wild. So if you hear something crazy or
we're supposed to get snow in the night here.
Oh, well, that's exciting. This weather's nuts. Anyway, we'll get back to the point here. Yep. Royce, the Packers, look, exactly what you said. And that is the thing. And I don't know how many times we talked about watching other teams, right? Because we observe other teams and you see some of these other teams like the Giants, who had a big uptick, right? And some of the Jets last year, other ones, It happens every year. The Saints, I remember they had, the one rookie class like a handful of years ago where the 3 or 4 rookies played and started, and they were just making an impact. Like you got to give those guys an opportunity to play. And the Packers for so many years have held back all the rookies and like, well, we gotta, oh no, they're not ready. I mean, well, let's get them ready to play and we'll wait and we'll like you just put them out there. It's a talented kid that you drafted. Let him freaking play over some average or below average guy that you currently have. And it's nothing against those guys. You need those guys for backup. You need those guys to fill out your roster. You need those guys for security. Sure. But you don't need to start them. So if you draft guys and they show some flashes, put them on the damn field and see what happens, man. But was part of that on the offensive side influenced by number 12? I don't know.
Well, yes, that's the other biggest point is when a guy doesn't utilize the offense and doesn't utilize the teammates around him, it really hurts your team. I mean, our offense was terrible last year. The worst scoring offense in the red zone last season. And we have Aaron Rodgers. How does that even happen? So, he's part of the addition by subtraction, to be quite honest. And everybody needs to realize that. And once they do, and they won't realize it. And unfortunately for us, if they come out the first game and Jordan Love stinks and the defense stinks and if they get blown out or something, I mean, it's going to be fans are going to be all over them.
Our only hope is they're not going to give Jordan Love some time here, a little bit.
No.
This ain't like when
I'm not
Favre
saying
left, right?
no. I'm not saying it's going to be like they're going to be all over Jordan Love.
Okay.
They're going to be all over Gute, and they're going to be all over LaFluer, and they're going to be. It's just going to be the guys who who are now like, see, I don't know, see what you got what you wished for. You wanted it, you got what you wished for. That's what's going to happen. So what I really want is for them to come out and just start blowing the snot out of people, scoring 30-some points right off the back game. First 3 games and blow the crap out of people and get turnovers and awesome plays and all this kind of stuff. And that will really shut everybody up. That's a naysayer. So, but what we really need though is for everybody to understand, hey, when you play the young players, their progression, I mean, they're only going to get better. But when you keep playing these veteran guys who are average at best, they don't get better. They only get worse. So by playing the young guys, whatever happens, whatever they look like in week 1, by week 5, week 6, week 7, they're going to look way better. They're going to look more together. They're going to be able to use their talents and everything as a team, as a whole, to kind of come together and make some plays. It might be ugly at first, and everybody needs to just get over it and shut up, because the potential of being a amazing, fast strike team is way more with this team that started already without even any of the draft picks yet. We don't even know what they're going to take. They got a high draft pick at 15. Hopefully they'll get another second round pick here or whatever from the stupid Jets when they get this dumb trade done. Get a couple good players in there. And next thing you know, boom, we got some offensive weapons. We got some defensive help in the secondary or in the linebacker or defensive line or whatever. But to be quite honest, I think they're like right now, the defense is fairly solid. Their weakest spot is still safety. And I think we should talk about that. That's the biggest thing I took away from this week was that Matt LaFluer said Rasul Douglas will be playing outside corner. That's what he said.
Mm-hmm.
He said there's no way he's moving to safety.
Well, he said, while we think he could do that, we think his best spot is here and for our team and blah, 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 and all that stuff. But
he also said Keyshawn Nixon is the nickel.
Right.
Which means, so what's Eric Stokes? Because we know Jair is starting.
Wasted first round pick once again.
And Savage, does that mean Savage is going to play? And then who's going to play? Rudy Ford? Because there's nobody in the draft that's good enough to play the draft and start. Even the guy everybody talks about, Brian Branch or whatever his name is, he's a slot defender. He's not even a deep safety. He doesn't have the speed. He doesn't have the size to play deep or to play around the line of scrimmage as like a safety and like take on offensive linemen and get off blocks and take on tight ends and cover tight ends. No, he's not big enough. So I don't know. I think Rasul could be great at deep safety.
I do too. Because he's gonna have his eyes on the quarterback and everything in front of him. Like that's the difference, right? Like I think that's part of why he's more impactful when he plays outside is because it takes longer for the ball to get there. You can recognize more things. You have a little bit more time. Right. When you're in the slot and there's all the jumble of everything right in front of you and you're right there And then it's also the other part is that usually the slot receivers are the little quick shifty guys, which he would not be a good match for, right? We know that. Like he's 6'2", 210 pounds. Like he's not going to stick with little shifty jitterbug guy. So for those reasons are the reason why it's not as good to have him there. But I think at safety, with his eyes on everything, he could just do a bunch of damage, and he's a good tackler. So I hope they at least keep it in consideration when they're looking at how the safeties look in training camp, because
I hope they give Rasul the looks at safety.
Yeah.
The problem is they'll give him the looks probably over Rudy Ford, and Savage will still be starting the whole time, which is the biggest mistake of all time.
I don't like that at all.
Well, Savage is going to be playing based on Matt LaFleur and Gute's comments. Savage is going to be a starting safety for the Packers, and you're only as good as your weakest link, and he would be the weakest link by far on the whole team. And there's nobody in the draft that can make it up, and there's nobody in free agency anymore that they can sign to make it up. All the good guys are signed. So we're going to look pretty bad at safety unless Savage gets hurt, and then they have to move Rasul over, and then maybe they'll look good. But I don't know. The other option, too, would be just draft another damn corner and just keep putting out good corners. I don't know.
Well, that's the other thing, because I joked with you about that Gute couldn't resist Christian Gonzalez or whatever just because of his his athletic ability and size and all that. But after this, I can't imagine. Like, if your head coach is coming out at this time and saying that Rasul Douglas is going to be starting on the outside, and you have Eric Stokes, who you drafted in the first round a couple of years ago because he just ran really fast, there's no way. You cannot do it. You cannot draft a first-round corner again when you've talked about the needs you have, and you've talked about how important you're going to utilize the draft to fill some of those needs. Gute has said it publicly. Come on. If they said all this stuff publicly for the last couple of months, and then they come out and draft a damn corner in the first round, I'm going to blow up. I'm going to blow a gasket. Probably this one over here, wherever that one is. It's going to blow up because I'm just going to lose it. It's like, come on. We did the corners like every year for how many years? Enough. You found a guy that somebody else two other teams cast away. 5, 6 teams cast away. He's doing great. There are more guys like that you can find to plug in your team. Draft a damn tight end that's going to be a difference maker and a stud for a bunch of years. Please. Anyway,
we'll see.
I don't know. I think the defense is interesting. I think they have a lot of good pieces. Matt LaFleur also glowingly talked about Quay Walker and talked about how much they expect from him. So hopefully that means what you were thinking, right? What you were talking about, where we're going to shift. It's no longer Devondre Campbell on every snap, and Quay Walker's they're gonna switch roles.
Yeah, Quay Walker needs to be the leader on defense, or at least the guy on the field on every play.
Yeah,
and he only comes out when he's tired. That's it.
Yep.
Especially with Chris Barnes gone, because Chris Barnes signed with somebody else. I can't remember who it was, but he's gone.
Arizona, I think. Arizona.
Yeah, sure. So okay, so now let's go. Purple Lilacs got this. Let's talk about this. Not that one.
They got all kind of crazy stuff. First, they got freezing rain, thunder, and snow at Rice Lake. Blizzard warning. What is going on? It's weird when you get like freezing rain and snow and there's thunder involved. There's just some weird air masses colliding. It's just wacky stuff. All right. What is this? Zero says Gute is addicted to drafting defensive backs. I know he loves defensive backs, but not this time. Zero, not this time. Purple Lilac says, what did you guys think of what LaFleur said about Jordan Love? Expectations. Got to temper those, man. Got to temper them.
All he's saying is, hey, everybody be cool. Don't be a dick. That's all it is. It's not a big deal. He's saying it because it's the truth. He doesn't know what's going to happen. But if the team can work together and he can get the ball into the hands of the playmakers, they can look great. Quick offense, quick plays, quick passes, get guys open, get the ball in their hands on time, let the guys make plays, don't hit on the ball too long, and they can move the ball. They can do things that the Packers haven't done in a couple of years because they'll have a guy who actually runs the play and throws to the open guy, period. And that's something.
I missed this one here. I want to bring it back because Brandy has the same Bears hate like you. Look at that. Just beat the Bears and we're good. That's all she cares about.
Well, I want a little more than that, Brandy. This is in 1989 where, when Don Mikowski threw the touchdown pass to Sterling on 4th down, with the replay game that everybody thought it was like winning the Super Bowl because Packers hadn't done anything in so many years. It's not like that anymore. Now we have higher expectations because we've had winning team for 30 years, and for the most part, I mean, except for a couple of Favre seasons and Rodgers seasons in there where we had 4 wins and whatever. But
Maybe I don't pay enough attention. But are you guys really hearing a lot of fans that are pessimistic and thinking this is the end of the world, that Aaron Rodgers is gone? Like, really? Is
I
that
don't know.
happening places?
I haven't heard that, but
I mean, if that's what they really think, like, well, what? I don't know. Like, what do you want? He didn't play well last year. He was like in the bottom third or bottom fourth of the league in almost every quarterback measurable category. And
the only quarterback she's better than them was the Jets quarterbacks.
yeah,
which is why that's the only team that wants him.
but he was really bad last year, and they still won 8 games and had a chance to be in the playoffs with 1 win at home in the last game. So why would you think? So if you just have to look at, don't think about Aaron Rodgers, okay? Don't think about it's Aaron Rodgers. If you get better play from that position, and then some other good things happen, like you don't take more than half the season to figure out who your return guy should be, and you don't take all this time to figure out what your offensive line should be, and the Packers actually learned some lessons from last year, then you would assume that they would win a few more games with equal or better, even as a little bit better quarterback play. And I think that's what Jordan Love is going to give you, at least a little bit better than Aaron Rodgers was last year. Does anybody think he's going to be terrible based on what you've seen? I don't think so. He's had a bunch of time to learn. He's had a bunch of time to get himself familiar with everything. Like, a big part of playing well, right, is just being comfortable and knowing what you're doing and being decisive. And his decision making is better too because of that.
The biggest part that fans need to realize, including the Aaron Rodgers first fans, which would be, the people that they're talking about, is it's more important to have your quarterback want to be there. It's more important to have your quarterback want to work hard and study and practice with his teammates and study the playbook and run the plays that are called to the best of their abilities and, be there for your team. That's more important than anything else. And for the last 2 years, we've had a guy who tried to sabotage the team, wanted to trade, was all about himself. If I look good, if I could still win. He's listen to his comments over the last couple months.
Yeah.
He believes he could still win an MVP if he goes to the right situation. Doesn't care about winning. Only cares about looking good, having good numbers. That's the way he's been for the last 7, 8 seasons. And when fans start realizing this crap, that's when they'll wake up and see, oh, you know what? We haven't been watching the team this entire time. We've been watching one guy try to do it by himself with one other guy. Instead of utilizing all 11 players.
Trying to get his numbers.
Right.
Not trying to necessarily win a championship. Trying to make sure if we do win, it's got to be on my terms and because of me.
Right.
That was the approach. And you can't play that way, because if the other team knows that, they're going to try to take that away. And then you got to utilize your other players. And that's why it was such a detriment. But what is interesting about all that, wasn't it in a loss last year, Ben, that Aaron Rodgers went on Pat McAfee and talked about how that was his highest grade from Tom Clements?
It wasn't his fault. They lost the game, but he said he was quick to point it. And I think it was the very next game where he threw 3 picks against Detroit Lions and stunk up the joint. Then he didn't say nothing about his grade after that, did he? No, he didn't. But what I'm trying to get at too is this. To the first point that you brought up, where Gute says that there are multiple attempts to contact Rodgers and got no response. Packer fans who are Rodgers supporters have to realize this is a guy who just didn't want to play for this team anymore. He only played the last couple years in spite. After they drafted Jordan Love, he played the 2020 season because he was pissed and he won the MVP. And then he was like, I just won the MVP. I'm going to take over the team by being a dingus, and I'm going to request a trade, or Gute has to get fired, or all the stuff that came out and whatever. Now, which we find out now was true, that he wanted Gute fired and all those other things that have happened. But anyways.
Right.
And then he just came back and had a 45-minute freaking press conference where he ripped the shit out of everybody, and Packers can't say anything about it. Packers can't say nothing. And then he comes out of that.
Sign my friends. Make sure you sign or I'll be mad.
Right. And then he wins another Super Bowl. Wins another MVP. Nobody knows why, because Tom Brady should have won that one. But whatever. Whatever. Aaron Rodgers, of course. And then the Packers get nervous because you can't trade away a guy who just came off 2 MVPs, or else you look like a moron. So they didn't do it, even though they should have. And they gave him a big, long contract. But smart enough, they put the out in it this year, where they have until the 1st of September to get rid of his butt, and it only cost you $40 million, as opposed to being a whole bunch more if he's still on the team as of that day. So they got a smart, hard out. Now, is it a big... We all know about that.
Yep.
So it hasn't just been this offseason where Rodgers ghosted the team. He ghosted them last offseason. And then they talked to Christian Watson on Rich Eisen's show, and they asked him, well, how did it go with Aaron Rodgers? And it wasn't hard to get together with him. You guys didn't seem to figure out what was going on until, that Dallas game. And he was like, well, and then I think he asked me, he's like, well, was Rodgers there for a, off-season practice, OTAs and mini camps and stuff? And he's like, well, he was there a couple times, but he didn't practice. He kind of just showed up and walked through. And all this kind of stuff. And I think Rich Eisen was trying to get information out of him to find out, what kind of quarterback am I getting here? Because, of course, Rich Eisen is a Jets fan. And he wants to know, is Rodgers going to be there for my team? Well, guess what, Rich Eisen? He's not. He's not. Unless he just wants to spite the Packers. And then if he goes to the Jets and shows up, if this trade happens before the draft, and he shows up for all their offseason stuff after the draft, I'm going to be freaking pissed as a Packer fan. And everybody else should be pissed as a Packer fan that the guy who we stood up for freaking 15 years playing and 18 years total freaking ghosted our whole entire team for 3 off seasons in a row where he didn't want to be there. Well, the one was a COVID season. I can't really I'll get him out of it for that one. But the last 2 years he ghosted them, didn't show. And now he ghosted when Gute's trying to get a hold of him. And they're just fed up with the crap. And I'm fed up with the crap. And a lot of guys are fed up with the crap. And until the fans realize this garbage, that's all you need to know. I don't care if Jordan Love stinks. I'm just glad Rodgers is gone. Because at least I know Jordan Love is working hard. That's what his personal coach is telling us. I know right now, Aaron Jones is working with him right now. He's in California working with him right now. What does that tell you? Was Aaron Rodgers ever invite Aaron Jones to work with him in California? Or anywhere for that matter? In the entire time that Aaron Jones was with Aaron Rodgers in Green Bay? Not once. Whenever somebody asks Aaron Jones, what kind of leader is Aaron Rodgers? All he talks about is, there's that one time my rookie year when I came in the game and he said, it's on you, guy. I'm going to you. You're the guy. And that was it. Aaron Jones brings it the same time every time. And that's how Aaron Rodgers is a great leader, because that's all he's got. Believe in you.
That's all he's got.
He never works with the off field. He never does. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. Yeah. Just like when we were at training camp last year and we saw Danny Etling working with 2 guys who didn't even make the freaking practice squad last year. They were both cut. But Danny Etling was there staying 20 minutes to a half an hour after practice working with these 2 guys who really needed to work on it because they were just signed like a couple weeks earlier to the team. And they had no chance of making the team. But all 3 of those guys wanted to work hard. And the 2 guys didn't make it. It was a receiver and a tight end. And Danny Etling made it as a practice squad quarterback, but that was it. But the bottom line is, Danny Etling at least gives a crap and helps his teammates.
Yeah.
What does Aaron Rodgers do? That's the other thing that was really interesting to me, because I want to bring this up because it's really important, because it's kind of weird. And I didn't think about it at the time. I think this really hurt the Packers during preseason and during training camp. When we were there, we watched the Packers defense manhandle the offense like it was nothing. Remember the offensive line? The defensive line, I thought it was going to be like, oh my God, our defensive line is going to just destroy everybody. Well, it turned out our offensive line was really, really bad. But the bottom line was, the key to it was, on every play when Aaron Rodgers was the quarterback, if the offensive line got beat immediately, he would just throw the ball in the dirt.
Yep. He
did not extend the play. He did not try to make something out of nothing, which forced our secondary to cover longer, which forced our offense to get on a whole, like a, hey, this is a scramble drill or anything. Like, they didn't work on any of that stuff, because as soon as the defensive guys beat the offensive line in any way, Rodgers just throw it out of bounds, or not out of bounds, or throw it to the dirt, or like none of that stuff. Why? I don't know. You're not going to touch you anyways. Take the practice rounds. Make the secondary work hard.
Yeah, he was just frustrated and mad, and he'd throw the
right. He
ball on
got
the
pissed
ground.
and he just every time.
Yep.
The guys who looked the best at that training camp day we were there was Jordan Love and Amari Rodgers. Only two guys looked worth shit on offense. All the other guys looked like dog crap. Every one of them. All of them. Now, Bakhtiari and Jenkins didn't play or did practice. And the running backs can't really do anything because nobody can tackle them. So they kind of just run in there and, just keep running. But we know that no one's tackling. But what I'm saying is this. Even when Rodgers is there, it's not allowed to let the players work on things that they need to work on. Like the secondary didn't have to even work. Like within 2 seconds, they don't have to cover anybody anymore. And then you wonder why they had miscommunications all over the place. Well, I'll tell you why. Because when in practice, the plays lasted like a second. And after that, they didn't even have to communicate about any changes. Because it didn't matter. They didn't see the difference in the plays against Rodgers. And he in the training camp, he practiced 3/4 of the time. Jordan Love only got in there a quarter of the time. And I think that hurt our defense as well.
Yeah,
and of course our offense. But that was something I don't know. I just think about it the other day. I was like, yeah, I can remember him just
a bunch of times.
He just get the ball, and all of a sudden there's a guy got beat, and he just and you get all pissed and yell at somebody. And I'm just like, they can't even touch you. Just run around and make the play go longer, and like just keep practicing stuff.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's just kind of, I think that also hurt the team. Because in the past, he didn't do that.
No, he would want to make those extension plays, make those guys work, and figure out what they would do if he did this or whatever. Like he was doing that stuff.
And it puts pressure on your defense. And it makes you understand things with your offense. Because after, like, maybe something like, okay, let's say he does extend the play, and then the guy runs the wrong way. And then after the play, you bring him over, and you're like, hey, listen, Romeo, if I extend the play, and you see the safety go deep and the corner jump me, I want you to split the difference. Don't keep running your route the way you're supposed to. Sometimes you got to sit down and, look at me. I'll give you a look or whatever, and then I'll know where you're going. But none of that stuff happened. And I don't know. It's just a one little thing I just thought of, and it bothered me. It just bothered me. And hopefully these are things that people will understand as they're watching. I think having Jordan Love as the leader, be able to run the plays the way they're supposed to be run, working together as a team. There is no prima donna on this team now. Not a single player on this team is a prima donna. Maybe Jair. He's the only one. Jair Alexander, probably the only prima donna on the team. Everybody else, I think, is a hard-working, tough guy, or just wants to do his job. But I don't know. I think it's interesting, and yeah, I just think fans need to realize this stuff.
Well, look, here's a fan that just did. Joshua George.
All right, what do you got?
Yeah. Sorry if you already said, but trading Aaron gave me pause because I didn't want to see him go somewhere else and succeed, which a lot of fans didn't want to see. They don't like seeing that, right? After the guy's with you forever, you want to see him go somewhere else and succeed. But he's turned me off so much, I just don't care anymore. Yes.
Yeah.
And that's where you can say thank you, Aaron Rodgers, for being so much about you and such a D-bag that you've made it easy for us to let you go. Right? I mean, really, this should be pretty damn easy. This is not like, the Brett Favre release. It just is not. Now, Brett Favre's revealed some things about his personality and lately that ain't so great. Maybe you don't like him as much as you did before. But if you just look at him as a football player, and at the time, you probably loved him. Most people did. And I will say this, at least he gave it his all the time, even though he did some dumb crap a lot of times. But he did some good stuff, and at least he tried. Aaron Rodgers has not been trying for years to help the team. He's only been trying to help himself. So a guy that's all about himself in the ultimate team sport is not only not any good to you, he hurts you. He hurts your team. What is the experience going to be like? Think about this. What is the experience going to be like for all of the new guys who've never had to deal with Aaron Rodgers coming in this year? Man, they won't know any difference unless the other guys tell them. But they're going to like it. It's going to be a way easier experience. You're not going to have some intimidating dude on your ass, especially if you're on offense. And then what about the guys who have been here and are younger, like Christian Watson, Romeo Dobbs? What can they do this year without a guy like that to be the way he was to them, right? I mean, I just think the growth potential to have work with Jordan Love, to be supported, to be together. I went back and I watched some stuff on Jordan Love. I was watching some Jordan Love stuff. And after he threw the touchdown pass to Christian Watson in the Eagles game, right? Do you know there was a cut shot of Jordan Love right after he was excited, and multiple offensive linemen, including Elton Jenkins, one of the veterans, one of the core veterans, was super excited for Jordan Love and came over and gave him a big five and all this stuff. Do you see those guys do that with Aaron Rodgers? Do you see Aaron Rodgers do that with them?
Yeah.
Bakhtiari, yeah.
They still do it.
Yeah, but not like this. Elton Jenkins actually looked excited. He doesn't usually.
Listen, I showed you the clip in
Mhm.
the first Detroit game where Elton Jenkins got pissed because he
Yeah.
knew it was a running play, and Rodgers popped up and threw the ball on an incomplete pass.
No, he dunked it off the guy's helmet, and it was an
Going up the guy's
interception.
helmet. Yeah. No, it was before that because there was another.
Okay.
It was the play where he threw it away, and it was easy. It would have been an easy run in for AJ Dillon for a touchdown, and Elton Jenkins was just pissed. He was so pissed because they had another
That is,
play right after that where he didn't show how pissed off he was, but also was a play that didn't work because
I
the
went
next
back.
play was a run.
I went back and I watched the highlights from the two Lions losses. Okay, and here's what I'm gonna do you a favor, all Packer fans that are Rodgers lovers, that are unnerved about this, that are uneasy about Aaron Rodgers leaving. Go back and watch the two games from last season against the Lions, like the 10, 11, 12-minute extended highlight packages. And immediately you will be relieved and just fine with him going away.
Yeah.
Because he was so terrible.
Not
I
terrible.
mean, you can't watch those and deny how bad he was. He was horrible. And so that'll just make you feel better and make you feel better about the situation. Jordan Love could not be that bad. Could not be worse than that.
He could be that bad, but you know the difference is in his
Bad
press
game.
conference after he will say, "You know what? I really was pretty rough today, and
That's true.
I got a lot of stuff I got to
Accountability?
work on. Aaron Rodgers throws 3 picks, didn't say nothing. But man, if somebody else screwed up and he didn't screw up, woo! You hear about that other guy who screwed up that one thing. You hear about that from him. Whatever.
Just go and watch those two. If you're feeling a little weird, go watch those two.
No,
like with
I
an
don't wanna watch
objective
them.
lens.
They make me sad.
Oh man, it's so blatantly horrible.
I still don't want to see the Packers lose, no matter who the jerky ass quarterback is. I can't stand. I still don't want to see him lose.
A decent game versus the Lions. Bye, Rodgers. That's right. Defense played well enough to win both those games. 100%.
All right, Zero, stop it with this crap. Zero's talking about what if Rodgers is the quarterback on a week. What? Listen, it's made abundantly clear. I mean, Gute is pretty much sealed it. I don't see any way it's going to happen that Rodgers is coming back. I mean, he could try to come back, and they'll be like, okay, I guess we'll pay you $100 million to sweep the floor.
David, I'm down with that. Doing. Are you down with that? Let's make a rule.
No. We got to make fun of him when he sucks.
Are you sure? Well, yeah, it's true.
Oh, I'm making fun of him when he sucks.
If he plays in the media after things start coming down on him, like he did here in Green Bay, we will make fun of him. But otherwise, like, I don't want to talk about him. Once he's off the Packers, I'm focusing on this team we got and excited about talking about what it can be and what we think it can be and the players that they and hopefully, like, look, guys, they had a great draft last year, and if they're able to have even close to as good of a draft as last season, come in and actually play some of these guys in some of the spots they need. I know everyone says don't draft for need. No. Draft for some need, please. And let those guys put them on the field, and let's get a bunch of young guys out there playing, and let's see how they go. Because now that Rodgers is going to leave, you can have an impactful tight end. You can have a tight end that you might actually throw the ball to. It'd be great. Mm-hmm. Attack the middle of the field, like someone said earlier. Oh my God, attack the middle of the field. They said, I think it was David or somebody said, they'd be fine with 16 picks from Jordan Love as long as he attacked the middle of the field. Yes, thank you very much. Attack the middle of the field, please. All right. You guys are fantastic. Thanks for hanging out. Thanks for being that. Giving your good comments once again. Again, I wasn't expecting to talk about John Brockington right off the top. RIP to him. And also look up his foundation just to learn a little bit more about the man that he was. So great Packer and great person, great human being in here, and a Packer Hall of Famer too. So good dude. And does he still have the, oh no, Aaron Jones passed him, right? Did he pass him on the list?
I don't know.
I think he did. think
I
Brockton
gotta
was
look it
like
up.
5,000 some yards. I didn't look that one up. I'm sorry. Anyway, never mind. But anyway, we know Aaron Jones is going to be the all-time leading rusher for the Green Bay Packers soon.
I don't think he's gonna get there.
Come on, Aaron Jones.
I think
this
he's
year.
got one season left, and I don't think he's gonna have enough to get there. No
He'll
way.
come back for like 5, like minimum, veteran minimum for the last.
It's not.
Especially if he's close, right? Don't you think?
It's the dead hit that they're gonna take. That's not that's the problem.
He'll do something. He'll probably make any concession that he could make to like help him out. Just to come back and be on the team one more year.
I don't know.
You could do it. Aaron Jones is the man.
He is, but I don't know.
And I know the Bucks got whooped last night, but they'll be fine. They've been playing good ball.
Yeah, but what's his face had 50-some points?
Yeah, and then he shot like crap last night.
Yeah.
So
That's because he had that 50 points, and then he's like, I'm the best. I'm Drew Holiday. Let me shoot the ball 87 times. No, because you suck.
they all kind of shot not great last night, and that's what happened. Celtics lit him up, so it's fine. But goddamn Malcolm Brogdon too, that son of a.
Yeah, he's the best.
He's really good. It pisses me
Yeah.
off.
He is. He always is the best. That's why he was like my favorite Buck for a while.
Pisses me off because he always
He's
makes
Rasul. He's like a Rasul Douglas.
he always makes a smart play. 100%.
Right. Like he's not good. He's not flashy. He's not the fastest guy. He's not the best shooter. He's not none of that stuff. But man, everything he does very good. So if everything you do is very good, there's very seldom where you are the reason why something was a fail. It's almost like you're the reason why everything usually is smooth. And that's Rasul Douglas, Jonathan Brogdon, same guy. So
Malcolm
not same
Brogdon,
guy, but I mean Malcolm Brogdon. Yeah.
I know,
Same type of guy.
Yep.
Awesome guys.
Anyway, it'll be interesting to watch. Hopefully those teams meet up in the conference finals again, and hopefully this time the Bucks take them out. But all right, be good, everybody. Stay good. Enjoy your weekend and stay safe if there's crazy weather coming your way. We will catch you next week for more Packer Outright Opinions. Yeah, take care.
Just to hold me till I treat you. Got to find